Hello, everyone. I am Black Rabbit X. Yesterday's Artemis program marked a monumental moment in American history, one that captured the very essence of the American spirit in all its bold, pioneering glory. To truly understand it, we must journey back to September 1620, when a humble wooden sailing ship called the Mayflower carried 102 Protestant pilgrims across the Atlantic's raging storms and towering waves. After 66 grueling days, they made landfall in the New World. These brave souls were not chasing the old world's stale supply and demand equilibrium. Driven by an unquenchable thirst for religious liberty and a fresh start, they shattered the chains of European feudalism and launched one of history's greatest supply-side disruptive innovations: the creation of a brand new society rooted in personal freedom, rugged individualism, and the fearless pioneer spirit that defines America. This is the eternal American spirit, never content with the status quo, always forging possibilities that once seemed impossible. Then came July 22, 1969. Apollo 11's Eagle lunar module touched down in the Sea of Tranquility. Neil Armstrong's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind, was pure American audacity in action. A national-led supply-side breakthrough that shattered the old equilibrium of Earth orbit only and ignited humanity's eternal flame for deep space exploration. It was America's Mayflower moment, among the stars. Proof that the United States leads not by following demand, but by boldly creating the future. Fast forward to April 1st, 2026, 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time. NASA's Space Launch System SLS heavy-lift rocket roared to life from Launch Pad 39B at Kennedy Space Center, carrying the Orion spacecraft on Artemis II. 4 international astronauts, Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Koch, and Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen, embarked on a roughly 10-day free-return lunar orbit mission, flying as close as 9,600 kilometers to the moon and reaching a maximum distance of 400,000 kilometers from Earth. This was not just NASA's first crewed deep space mission since Apollo 17 in 1972. A 54-year gap finally closed. It was the living continuation of America's unbroken chain of innovation. From the Pilgrim's daring
今
voyage
天
to Apollo's
我们
first
就
leap
用信
to a
息经济学
sustainable,
来拆解这个
multiplanetary
误
future
区。
that only the American spirit could envision and deliver. Many skeptics sneer. Space rocket exploration is just science fiction fantasy. No real business logic, just burning money. Such short-sightedness reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of modern economics. It clings to the classical notion of a static equilibrium while ignoring the supply-side essence of innovation. Today, let's dismantle this myth through the lens of information economics. Space exploration is not fantasy. It is entrepreneurial supply-side innovation that unleashes information entropy surprises. It shatters old equilibria, creates brand new markets, and reshapes the entire global economy. As George Gilder has brilliantly argued, innovation is, at its core, about unexpected surprises and delightful leaps forward. That is precisely why it can never be centrally planned by government, nor dictated by existing consumer demand. Steve Jobs famously despised market research, declaring that people don't know what they truly want until you show it to them. Catering slavishly to focus groups rarely produces real breakthroughs. Henry Ford said it even earlier. If he had simply listened to customers, he would have built a faster horse instead of inventing the automobile. Thus, invention and innovation perfectly align with Claude Shannon's concept of information entropy. True breakthroughs always emerge from the supply side, never the demand side. The driving force of economic progress is innovation, but innovation does not arise from supply-demand balance. It springs from unilateral supply-side leaps. It cannot be government-planned or government-manufactured, nor can consumers will it into existence. Innovation is the random, surprising breakthrough born at the intersection of clear rules and radical uncertainty, the very unpredictability that powers the modern economy. At this very moment, humanity's long pause on the space stream has been decisively restarted. Artemis II is more than a technical test. It is a vivid demonstration of global cooperation and sustainable governance. And the policy foundation supporting the entire Artemis program is the Artemis Accords, launched in 2020. Below, we present a complete English-language overview of this historic launch, its past, present, and future significance, along with a detailed breakdown of the Artemis Accords framework, core principles, and global impact. Together, they paint a full picture of humanity's march toward a Moon-Mars era, powered by the undying American spirit of freedom, ingenuity, and leadership. Artemis II, humanity's deep space return. After 54 years, 1. Mission overview and historic breakthrough. Artemis II is the second crewed mission of the Artemis program, following the uncrewed Artemis I testing in 2022. It uses the SLS Block 1 rocket paired with the Orion spacecraft. The crew will test life support systems, the heat shield, and atmospheric reentry at nearly 40,000 kilometers per hour in real deep space conditions. Critical data for Artemis 3's planned crewed lunar landing at the South Pole, 2027-2028. This flight follows a free return lunar orbit, conducting life science experiments and lunar observations without landing. The crew itself is historic. Victor Glover becomes the first African-American astronaut to venture into deep space, Christina Koch, the first woman to fly around the moon, and Jeremy Hansen, the first non-American to join such a mission. This reflects America's evolution from elite space race to a model of diversity, inclusion, and international partnership, hallmarks of the American spirit that welcomes the best and brightest from around the world. 2. Core technical validation. The SLS is currently the world's most powerful rocket. Orion is designed for long-duration deep space habitation. Artemis, too, will fully validate crewed rocket performance, spacecraft docking, radiation protection, and communication delay handling. Success will greenlight construction of the Lunar Gateway Station and integration with commercial landers such as SpaceX's Starship. This is not merely returning to the moon. It is the essential bridge to a sustainable lunar outpost and, ultimately, crewed Mars missions. 3. From Apollo to Artemis, Pause and American Revival. The Apollo program, 1969 to 1972, achieved humanity's first lunar landings, with Apollo 17 as the final crewed mission. For more than 5 decades afterward, America confined itself to low Earth orbit, e.g., the International Space Station. In 2017, the Trump administration signed Space Policy Directive 1, officially launching the Artemis program, named for the Greek goddess of the moon. The goal shifted from planting flags to sustainable presence, a lunar South Pole base, in situ resource utilization, and preparation for Mars. Artemis 1, 2022, completed the uncrewed lunar flyby, but hydrogen leaks, heat shield issues, and supply chain delays postponed Artemis 2. The flawless April 1st, 2026 launch has put the program back on track. The mission is now underway, with ground teams monitoring in real time. Artemis 3 will deliver the first crewed lunar landing and begin building a commercial international lunar ecosystem, another triumph of American innovation and resilience. 4. Real-world impact and global inspiration. This launch showcases American technological leadership while igniting a new generation worldwide with the dream of the stars. It proves that deep space exploration has evolved from Cold War rivalry into a peaceful, sustainable commercial model. With hundreds of billions invested and dozens of U.S. commercial partners involved, Artemis is poised to spark explosive growth across the aerospace supply chain. Classic American supply-side dynamism at work. 2. The Artemis Accords, the 21st century global framework for space governance. 1. Origin and signing status. On October 13, 2020, NASA and the U.S. Department of State launched the Artemis Accords. The original 7 signatories: United States, Australia, Canada, Italy, Japan, Luxembourg, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, committed to a non-binding political agreement grounded in the 1967 Outer Space Treaty and other UN space law conventions. The accords provide practical principles, guidelines, and best practices for activities on the Moon, Mars, asteroids, and beyond. As of January 26, 2026, Oman became the 61st signatory. The accords remain open to all nations. They now encompass major spacefaring countries across 5 continents, including Singapore. Although China and Russia have not signed, both continue dialogue through the UN Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, COPUOS. NASA regularly hosts workshops to advance transparency and data sharing. 2. The 10 Core Principles, official English summary. The accords revolve around peace, transparency, and sustainability. The 10 principles are: 1. Peaceful purposes. All activities must be exclusively peaceful and fully compliant with international law. 2. Transparency. Nations will openly share national space policies and exploration plans and provide scientific data in good faith. 3. Interoperability. Adopt or develop common standards, communications, power, fuel interfaces to enhance mission safety and efficiency. 4. Emergency assistance. Commit to full rescue efforts for distressed astronauts, reaffirming obligations under the Rescue and Return Agreement. 5. Registration of space objects. Coordinate registration of spacecraft in cooperative missions to improve orbital safety. 6. Scientific data sharing. Promptly release scientific results to the global community. Private sector activities accepted. 7. Protection of outer space heritage. Safeguard Apollo landing sites and historic artifacts. Develop international preservation rules. 8. Space resource utilization. Allow extraction of lunar Martian resources without national appropriation of sovereignty. Require notification and adherence to sustainability. 9. Deconfliction of activities. Create temporary safety zones based on scientific criteria, using notification and coordination to prevent interference. 10. Orbital debris mitigation. Design missions to minimize debris, safely dispose of spacecraft at end of life to preserve the space environment. These principles are implemented through bilateral agreements and have become the operational rulebook for all Artemis partners. Implementation and global impact. Though non-binding, the Accords function as soft law, regular consultations, UN notifications, and incorporation into mission contracts. They've successfully integrated commercial players, SpaceX, Blue Origin, etc., preventing a Wild West in space while laying the foundation for permanent lunar bases, resource extraction, and Mars outposts. They strengthen international trust and offer pathways for non-signatories to participate via bilateral or multilateral channels. Another example of American leadership fostering inclusive progress. 3. The deep fusion of the Accords and Artemis II, the road to Mars. Artemis II's success is the Accords in living action. Interoperability ensures seamless integration of Canadian and Japanese hardware. Transparency and data sharing let scientists worldwide benefit instantly. Safety zones and debris rules protect orbital operations. Future milestones, Artemis III lunar landing, Gateway Station construction, lunar resource use will all operate under this American-inspired framework. From a broader view, the system shifts space governance from pure state dominance to multi-stakeholder stewardship. It invites emerging space nations to join while providing a constructive dialogue space for U.S.-China competition and cooperation. The ultimate goal is unmistakable: build a lunar economy, gain the experience needed for 2030's crewed Mars missions, and make humanity a true multiplanetary species, led by the same American spirit that turned a wilderness into the greatest nation on Earth. I fear challenges, vision, and eternal inspiration. Challenges remain: technical delays, budget pressures, geopolitical tensions, space debris, and radiation risks. Yet spirits on launch in the 61-nation Artemis Accords have set a shining example of global cooperation rooted in American vision. They remind us that space exploration is no longer the privilege of a few nations. It is humanity's shared destiny. As the Orion spacecraft glides steadily toward the moon, let us imagine permanent bases at the lunar South Pole and human footprints on Mars. All of it began with the thunderous roar on April 1st, 2026, and the visionary document known as the Artemis Accords. Humanity has never stopped gazing at the stars. This launch is not an end, but the dawn of a new epoch. The future is here. Let us witness it together, proudly carrying forward the eternal American spirit of liberty, courage, and boundless innovation.